Hey everyone! Avengers Infinity War has held some early screenings and we got our first reactions. What are these lucky bastards saying about the movie's story, tone, and Hawkeye saturation? Are they going to keep all those sweet, sweet Thanos deeds to themselves? Are they going to share with us and give us a taste? We need those Thanos deeds. They help us feel alive. Tell us everything you know about Avengers Infinity War. Okay, right? How long was I out? Guys, welcome to New Rockstars News. Our deep dive into all the biggest stories this week. So, in addition to Avengers Infinity War, we're going to talk about Star Wars Episode 9 and the Doctor Strange sequel, some Rick and Morty news, more. We got everything you need to know. I'm Erik Voss, and joining me at this table are...
Over here is a Sam Bashor. How's it going?
Great. Filup, Molina, how are you?
G'day, it's Maude.
Bendigo.
I'm just having a little Morty sleep.
This is going to be a very Australian episode, isn't
Yes, it is. But before we get to that, let's start with our top story, guys. Early reactions to Avengers Infinity War. Marvel Studios is showing the first 30 minutes of the movie to fans and press over the next few weeks, including screens in London. I will do anything to get on that list. If you're watching
anything.
Yes,
No, I mean, I'm...
anything.
Yeah, seriously. If you have a
anything
hookup,
in your imagination...
make it 10 times worse and Erik will do it.
I will, yeah. But only if you make it 10 times worse. Now, spoiler warning, if you don't want to know anything, we don't really have any information.
Except for the script.
But if you're worried that our speculation might ruin the fun, might as well unsubscribe now, right?
What are you doing? Are you drunk?
Numbers just falling.
Come back,
Okay,
sorry.
here we go.
I dare you.
No, guys, stop.
Okay, those in attendance weren't allowed to tweet much, but here's what they did say. They called it ambitious, and that the movie switches tones between different groups, like the Guardians sequence had a different look and feel and soundtrack than the New York scenes. They also described it as very funny, and they said that Hawkeye is still MIA. Meanwhile, lots of people are reacting to Ebony Maw, the member of Thanos' Black Order. They're saying he's a breakout new character, saying he's very, very fun to watch. Now, the directors, the Russo brothers, are taking spoilers and leaks very seriously. They tweeted this week a memo asking fans who see it early to maintain, quote, the highest level of secrecy and to not spoil anything. And they use the hashtag Thanos demands your silence.
I love this.
This is awesome. Also, Funny or Die released a very funny parody of this letter that I highly recommend you read. It's great. Now, it's a little rare to see this kind of effort by filmmakers to keep a lid on a movie. Sometimes the director, like J.J. Abrams, will just simply refuse to do advanced screenings and carefully edit their own trailers to keep us guessing what's in the movie.
I had to do the last junket for The Last Jedi. We didn't get to see the movie before we interviewed them. We just like, so how is it? They're like, we can't talk about it. I'm like, great.
Cool. So
Next.
So that's becoming more and more common, but for like to do these creative things by directors, to take these steps to like beg us to not talk, it feels very old school. Like I remember seeing some old trailer for Psycho by Hitchcock, and where Hitchcock came out and said, please do not tell people what's in this movie, because apparently like back in those days people just show up 20 or 30 minutes late to a movie and people would just talk about it, and he like that worked. Like people did not.
Well, and without spoiling Psycho, that movie takes, if you didn't know, it takes this huge turn like 20 minutes in. It's like, oh, this is a completely different movie. And the same thing happens with Scream,
Right.
with the opening Scream, and they also had to hide that with the Drew Barrymore. Her character was prominent on the poster.
Yeah, right? Like putting a huge person on the poster of the movie and who's not a main part of the movie. So it feels very old school, but also uncommon and new in a new way to do this. But so what do you guys think about these reactions? And without going too deep into our predictions, because we don't want to accidentally spoil anything, what kind of twist do you think would necessitate such a huge effort by the filmmakers to tell us not to say anything?
Well, death, man.
Sure, death, but not just any death,
Next
because
question.
death could happen, right? But like, is it something that, because I think we're all expecting death, right? Like this has been what we've been leading up to. What kind of game changer would this death have to be to keep us from wanting to talk about it?
all of them.
Your analogy of, with the Drew Barrymore and Scream, the biggest people on the poster maybe are the smoke and mirrors.
The A.
It's gonna
A.
become a different letter.
The
It's
A
gonna
is-
be a 4. Fantastic 4 is coming back. Yeah, just move that little lower part.
Yeah,
Becomes a
I
4.
see it.
In my heart, I feel like Cap ain't gonna do too well
Cap?
in this movie.
But okay,
yeah.
he's the one that still has time on the contract, right?
no,
It's
or he has
RDJ.
both movies. Yeah.
Yeah, but Robert Downey Jr. is
Time's
done.
up.
Oh, they well also
Hashtag,
Chris Evans
yeah.
said in an interview, he's like, no, Avengers this one and 4, I'm done. Like that's it. That's all I'm.
Yeah.
That's all I'm
so
gonna
he's
do.
giving himself another movie.
Yeah,
Or
or,
is that-
they shot that at the same time as this, so it's
Which
like
is really tough because have we've addressed the thing that is very likely to happen in one of these Avengers movies in the next two.
Yeah.
The big thing that's fascinating about all the old movies.
Say it.
We've hinted at it. This. You want to go for it? Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. So this is potentially a spoiler for Infinity War 1 or 2. But it could be what they're trying to hide, but it's kind of out there too. So if you don't want to know, maybe if we can put a time code down and you can skip ahead. But it's that there might be time travel in this movie where they revisit the previous films from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like all of them, like going back to the first Avenger, which is a Captain America movie, like literally go back to intervene in that movie. I guess they need to get their parents back together.
Right.
Classic.
Kind of a Back to the Future or Back to the Future Part 2
Does that
thing,
mean we
right?
get Haley Atwell again?
I'd always be happy with
Potentially,
that.
yeah.
No,
that'd be
that's
fun.
what I
Yeah.
want.
She's
Yeah.
great.
But all of the movies might get revisited, and I think if they do that, first of all, I thought that would be in the second one, so that's why I'm not even sure if that's what they're trying to hide in this first one. But also, I think it'd be, just side note, a great way to launch into the new phase where they kind of reboot things now.
Oh, that'd be fun.
And it's like,
Yeah.
now we have an explanation why Robert Downey Jr. is a different person.
Ooh,
Yeah.
you know, could be also really cool is if they X-Men whatever the business
done it already.
happens.
Days of
If
Future
that
Past
happens,
it.
you could go back. Something happens, like getting exposed to cosmic garbage, whatever, like makes
Just time
genetic
stone it,
start
yeah.
to of course, but like
Garbage.
but like because people are exposed to some radiation, like people start to evolve, and you get X-Men in present day.
That would work. Yeah, I could see a version of this movie where, like, some kind of ending is like, we have to go back to the beginning, and then we see Iron Man visiting himself in the cave in Afghanistan or wherever that was, right? Like,
And then
Right.
all
And
of
you get
Avengers
the-
4 happens in that dark cave.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see them all together in that
saved them
cave.
so much money.
So it's
producing
insane.
Yeah,
this.
it all is in Thor's small town, that
Yeah.
stupid Western town.
Yeah.
I love it. We're going to revisit Thor 1,
Yeah.
Thor 2, Iron Man 2,
Yeah.
it.
and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if we're going to see something like that, some kind of huge game changer, because I think death is just the beginning. This becomes the mummy.
Is this Marvel's
Right.
apology? It's like, we figured it out now. So we're just going to fix a few things that we didn't like.
And then they re-release those movies with the edits, and I'll be
Yeah.
like, this doesn't track at all.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to see, I think, we're definitely in store for a major character going away.
Sure, but I think you're right that it's probably beyond a character death. It's got to be a game changer. If the most similar moment right now is Steven Spielberg recently at South by with the premiere of Ready Player One, with the huge sequence in the middle that, again, if you haven't seen Ready Player One yet, you have to go see just for this sequence in the middle. It's one of my favorite things that's happened in years in movies. I think it's got to be at that level. Steven Spielberg told everyone in the crowd, wasn't that great? Don't tell anyone, please.
Right.
And it's the same kind of thing. I think it's got to be at that level.
Yeah, you got to put yourself in the minds of the Russo brothers when they're working with the screenwriters and the Marvel folks and Feige, sitting around a table saying like, "Oh, this would be really fun. Let's make sure this happens." Oh, but you know what? That's gonna be really hard to keep a lid
Freaking
on.
new rock stars.
Those guys ruining movies, according to
Talk
Hollywood
to.
Reporter, right? Thanks, we ruined
Shout
a lot
out,
of
thank
show.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dum-dums.
But
Yeah, it's got to take some kind of crazy thing for them to say, you know what? Okay, a month out from the movie, we'll just tweet out to people, be cool. Don't say anything.
Well, also, is this like the first movie where most of the cast didn't get the script? Like the
Yeah.
whole script?
Well, Tom,
That
especially.
happened.
Tom Holland didn't.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you
The
gotta-
ending of the movie is this. I had so much fun. What is that? Oh, God.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They're just gonna CGI his mouth in, or whatever, like somebody else in.
He just stood there silently. But also, Don Cheadle said the same thing. He was like, I don't know, I just came and shot my stuff and then I bounced and it was like easy. But like, and he's like, I'm excited to watch it because I'm gonna be able to watch it just like all of you guys.
Yeah.
What if they go back and it's Terrence Howard as War Machine?
That'd be so
What
weird.
the hell? They're just like touching. We're the same.
And
Did
they
he say?
merge.
Did he say bounced? Because that could have been. Did he wink when he said bounced?
And then I bounced, like, because he hits the ground again.
Yeah, just like
Oh
rubber
wait,
dimension.
we'll go back in time and then Black Panther tiptoes over to his like body on the ground, and he puts one of those
Zeus.
beads in the back. You're good, okay, we're just gonna back. Sorry,
my
I
bad.
should have done this earlier. We were too far apart.
Whole reason they go back in time.
Yeah. I mean, that's not a horrible reason to go back in time to fix something if you're gonna do it.
Yeah, but then you have to fix every person who's in a wheelchair's thing.
We're gonna go full sci-fi here. Hawkeye got weird time travel, garbagey, whatever storylines, and he is now all of time and space. He's the arrow that touches the beginning and the end. That's where he is right now.
That's your explanation of where he is.
It makes sense.
I think he had
We've got a
kid.
video, not to jump ahead too much, but really exploring where Hawkeye actually could be. We'll add that to the list.
Thank you. I mean, you don't have to now. I said it, so you got it. Yeah.
Good then. We won't talk about that ever again.
I reckon Hawkeye's a dad.
Oh, for sure. Hawkeye's
again,
already.
He's
Yeah.
got like
Yeah,
a
he is,
but he's got a newborn, and then like he's just like.
That's
Guys.
his story.
He has the newborn from Age of Ultron.
And
Yeah.
then it's old.
Mage of Ultron.
But that's
And
like
now
his
there's
story.
another
It's just
one.
him being a dad.
And he's just chopping wood without his shirt on. Like,
Over and over again.
that's all I need.
That's the fourth movie.
Because I think that is the
Just
other
up
big
with it.
question. Like, granted, seeing only the first 30 minutes, the first act doesn't have to show you everything that happens in the
Yeah.
movie. It sounds like there are multiple movies in one here. And who knows if those first 30 minutes that Marvel showed people is what is going to be in the
Right.
final cut of the movie. But I think, according to the directors, they aren't showing Hawkeye in the posters and trailers for a specific reason.
I reckon
and
it's
I'm very
to get
curious.
people to care about him.
Oh,
Right,
poor
ask that
guy.
question.
Yeah, leave
Yeah.
him off the poster. We're trying to get people to care more about you. He's like, I'm not buying this. Poor Jeremy Renner.
But also, Boss Logic, who does all those awesome fan edits for every genre, he's like, don't worry, Ant-Man's on this poster, and he's zoomed in really close to the thumb on the gauntlet, and there's like a little shape there, and it's not a rock, but like he edited it in, and it's just Ant-Man like holding on really tight on the side. So it's like, hey guys,
That's
now
really
we're just
cool.
missing Hawkeye. We're really close now.
Yeah.
Real quick, just to acknowledge what they actually said those first 30 minutes are like. What do you guys think of the fact that the tonal shifts of, this is trying to bring together 18 movies in one, and as we know, Thor is very different from
Cap,
Cap is different from Iron Man, which is different from Guardians. Guardians obviously kind of started to infect things, like Thor Ragnarok was very Guardians-esque.
Yes.
But the fact that it sounds like they're kind of segmenting it a little bit, making them feel like each other movies. What do you guys think about that?
Personally, I'm fine with that. I think that makes it definitely will keep things moving, since you have to move through so much plot, as long as it doesn't all start to like blend together. You're like, I don't know. I think we have 3 of the stones now. I have no idea, but as long as it feels different, it's like, okay, this story's ending now, and we're coming together to make this story work now. And also, you got a taste of like what those genres would be like when they come together. When you had Star-Lord talking to Iron Man, you're like, the way Star-Lord talks, it sounds like a teenager talking, and but an Iron Man reacts like equal to that. So I'm excited for. I'm glad they're doing it in a different way.
I think it'll help the storytelling for you to keep up, because there is so much going on, and I think that's why they've used the posters with the different colors and the groupings, so you can already get a headspace going,
good
right,
call.
this is who's going to be together, this is who's going to be together, and
Right.
the different colors, kind of shows that they're doing different tones throughout it all.
Yeah,
But
they
I think
actually are placed with like the people that from the trailers we
Yeah.
know they tend to spend their story with, and then
That
you're
is, they're
talking about
pre-grouping it, yeah.
there's the green one that's clearly the Wakanda one, I think, right?
Purple,
And-
blue, yeah.
Interesting to note, 6 segments here could correspond to 6 different Infinity Stones, with Thanos in the bottom, kind of separate. I don't know. I think music is also a great way to do that too. Like, we saw how successful John Williams' score was in The Last Jedi, and the way that he was able to use like different musical leitmotifs and just use music as a way to like tell this part of the story. And the music of Kylo Ren just feels so distinctly different from the music of Leia, and how by using music and by tweaking it in subtle different ways, they're able to like tell different stories at once that all feel part of the same macro story. So if they're able to use music, I mean, the Marvel universe isn't known for its musical scoring as well as some of the
Personally,
other, but
I agree. Black Panther did a really good job.
Yeah, that was
with
the
that.
first one.
And there were
That's what
clear
seems
themes
inspired.
for like, this is Killmonger, this is
Yeah,
ancestral,
yeah.
this is T'Challa. Sorry, I just want to point that out. That is one of my favorite. They just released the soundtrack. If you want to go listen to it, it's very, very good.
Yeah, for sure. And I think if they can build on that the way the successes that they had with Black Panther and using music to group everything together in different ways.
It's funny though, because it's like you've got your compositions and using a composer, and then you have like with Guardians, it's just a soundtrack. Like it's just
Yeah.
different songs that are getting you in that vibe. The thing I'm worried about with this feedback is the word ambitious.
It's
That
been
sounds.
Ambitious
used in good ways and in bad ways, but
It's-
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like when you No, like sometimes when you have like that friend who's really artistic and they do their one-man show and you're like, it's ambitious. You're very creative.
Eric's one-man show that we all attended.
Yeah.
Very creative.
You guys were all there, right? Like the lights were really bright, but I heard 3 people clapping and
Really
guys?
good water.
Guys.
Really good water. It's just hitting the
Mine
spot.
is fine.
Usually I use ambitious in a way where it's like, man, they tried. They tried.
Uh-huh.
It was a lot,
Yeah.
and they gave it a go, but it
But
didn't really
in 30 minutes, they don't know, I guess, whether or not it's going to pay off. So, yeah, hopefully.
That's only
it's
a tenth of the movie.
You know what's funny is, do you guys remember how much concern there was around Civil War? It's like, how will they balance all of these characters?
They did it great.
And but also, I remember we talked a lot about how they cut out a lot of characters. That was part of it. But that conversation is not happening that much. And look at, I mean, this one is going to be like way more difficult to balance. So that's actually, I'm curious about if they're doing, like, that was the idea. Let's separate it into like separate movies. Between each separate movie, we'll get a meanwhile, and then it'll cut to the other one. Like comic panels, almost like in a grand event.
Meanwhile, at the Legion of Doom, or what is it? What is it? It's from the Super Friends cartoon.
Yeah.
They messed it up.
And I think humor is like ambitious. I agree.
Right.
Like, you know, people use ambitious to describe like The Dark Knight Rises and The Last Jedi, 2 movies that I both really liked, but for some people
For
they're like,
different
oh, it's too big
reasons.
for its britches. But hearing that it's so funny, I think humor can be like a good remedy for
Dude,
anything.
it saved the Thor franchise.
For sure.
Yeah.
And as long as if the jokes all feel like they're from the same movie, then like people
I don't
are
want it
very
to be
forgiving.
too funny.
You want it to be dark?
I don't want it to be too funny.
But Civil War was a good balance of both those.
Yes.
If you can use it as just like in the right moments at the right times, that can just like win the audience back. Like
Yeah.
even the darkest movies
I
have a couple
can't
laughs
go
in
back
there, you know?
and watch Thor Ragnarok.
I'm
feel like I had a
gunning
great
too
time.
soon.
Yeah, I know. But I feel like I had a great time in theaters, and that's it. It doesn't stay with me. And I want this thing to
Oh,
stay
no.
with me.
See?
Civil
fair,
War
yeah.
though it's.
I mean, I like comedies, but
Have you
Just-
rewatched
just
it though?
different.
No, but I want to. I would actually really, really want to. And I do not have that for a lot of the DC movies who don't opt.
Yeah.
humor.
But you know what? I
Donuts.
do want to rewatch. Like when I rewatched Batman vs Superman, and I loved it. I loved it a lot more. I rewatched it twice. I want to
He's
watch
lying.
Justice League again before I want to rewatch Thor Ragnarok. I know most of you guys are Marvel, and I love Marvel people, and I love the Marvel. I love Marvel, people. But the but rewatch, I feel like there's more meat there in terms of it. Like I feel like I enjoyed Thor Ragnarok so much first time I watched it, and I don't need
You know
to see
what
it
it is?
again. I don't want to find something to dislike about it when I watch it
It's the
again.
Kiwi humor. That was like the big
Yeah.
selling point for me. That
which is
Kiwi
very,
humor.
very funny.
So fun, and I miss it. And I was just sitting here like, yay! And I watched it with the Kiwi, and he's just like, how is like our local humor in a giant
Small town.
block?
Small
Yeah,
town humor in a
caters for like maybe 30 million people, and that's it. In like a billion, you know, how many we got? 5, 4 billion?
And the
There's
planet?
6
Seven
people.
billion.
There's
Seven
6
now.
people in
Yeah.
this room. Mhm.
Yeah.
7
Just more
billion
than
people.
who was at my
So it's
one
a-
person
it's a-
show. I just want to say.
niche.
I say
You
one
didn't know.
person show because it's 2018.
But Russo brothers boiled down the characters in Civil War to their essence
Yes.
and nailed it. They made Vision interesting because after Age of Ultron, rewatched it recently. That's a chore to get through. That's a really hard movie to get through. And I don't. By the end of it, he's like phasing through people, and you're like,
How?
why? But and they don't explain it in Civil War, but it doesn't matter because you get this great moment where he explains this is how he sees the world and this is how he understands himself. And it happens within 3 lines, and I'm like, cool,
Right.
I get it. And same with Scarlet Witch. I was like, okay, you're proud of who you are now, but everyone around you's scared of you, and you don't care. And like it's like that's amazing. That Age of Ultron was a movie dedicated to you, and I didn't get that from there.
Yeah.
But in Civil War, where you're sharing the screen with at least half of these people, I was able to learn more about you in those scenes. So they got it.
Well, that's what Civil War did well. It was like playing up to everyone's essence. And now it's like, because you know them so well, we're going to mess with it and put it with people that you're like, what? How?
I do wish, though, one of the coolest parts of Civil War is whenever Queens pops up, because you're like, Spider-Man! And that was so cool in the theaters, and there's none of that in this. It's like, Guardians are going to show up, and you're like, yay! But it's like, what if it was like, Manchester, New York, and everyone's like, huh? And then like the X Mansion, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot that's where they live.
God,
yeah.
Could you imagine if that's the thing they're trying to hide?
And everyone just has heart attacks in the theater.
they're able to talk to Fox into
Or
That like there's like a
expediting
hint
this.
of it or
they
something?
time
Yeah.
travel, and then all of a sudden there's a Star Destroyer that goes by.
This gets real reality
I
Jim
picked
Swab
one.
in here.
Yeah, you
I
went
would
too
lose
far.
my
You're
Yeah,
like,
you went too far.
why?
Yeah.
You just destroy the planet.
Yeah.
Well, let us know what you're most looking forward to, what your reactions are to these initial reactions. And I think I'm super excited. We didn't really touch on Ebony Maw yet, but if you watch our breakdown of the Black Order, there's a lot of interesting
I did
ways
watch
they could
yours.
go.
It was really good.
Yeah,
That's the only video you watched on the channel?
Yeah. And well, I mean, aside from me misidentifying the mocap actor as British when he's actually Irish, apologize again to all the Irish fans.
Get that.
But whatever. I owned up to it, and
That
thank you for
offends me.
pointing it out to me.
Apologize to Maude. She's the one that
She's
left all the
clearly
comments.
Irish, right?
You were
Apologies
too
to Maude. I
mean.
misidentified Maude.
I'm really excited to see I'm super excited about Thanos, but I'm very excited to see yet another good villain in this world. So anyway, let us know what you're most excited about, and we will see. Hopefully, we'll be able to get in and see this movie early. Again, we will
I'm
do
going to the
anything to do
premiere,
it. Yeah. Of course you are.
Interesting.
Take us. I think I might be able to
And
get
that
us
was
to
the
see
last
it
time
one
you
day
ever saw
early.
me.
Yeah. You mean Thursday, 7 p.m.? See you there.
Well, let's move on to a
meant
quick
Saturday.
update here. Okay, now since it's the new Rockstars news, we want to cover all the news you need to know about. We got an update on Doctor Strange 2 this week. The screenwriter confirmed.
TWO.
Yeah,
Doctor Strange 2.
2, and we got Strange 2, TOO. We also got that information. Anyway, the sequel would explore Baron Mordo, Chiwetel Ejiofor's character, and that the villain would be Nightmare, which is something that it's something that he wants to explore in this. The Doctor Strange comics, Nightmare is an entity from the Dream Realm who feeds on the psychic energy of created by people who are having nightmares.
Isn't that it?
Yeah.
Isn't that the entire premise of it?
And Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, that's
And
the one.
the
Sorry.
Demon
I've
Bear
never
from the
watched
New
either.
Mutants, yeah,
Don't
it's
worry.
also something that feeds
And
on
a little bit
of Legion,
yeah.
right? Yeah. So, we're very excited about this, and it's not approved yet. I think they're being hush hush about what exact future movies there will be in the Sam. Anytime the camera cuts to Sam, he has to make me.
You got me.
We'll see what happens with the future of this. Hopefully, these will happen as soon as Infinity War comes out. They'll just tell us exactly what the future of the MCU will be.
Where's your hype meter for Doctor Strange 2?
It hasn't been confirmed, so I'm a little bit nervous for it. But hype meter, if we're going to do it, 100%'s over here.
100% is over there?
It's over here. It's because I'm
Okay.
starting over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange 2?
Yeah, all the way.
Wait, so you can see.
Okay, Eric,
Yeah.
what's your hype meter?
All the way. Doctor Strange was great. The first Doctor
Do
Strange
it.
was
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Physically
I
do
watched
it.
it. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't wake me.
That's terrifying.
It really-
Okay, well, speaking of
Really?
Doctor Strange, he actually inspires this week's trivia question.
Oh.
boy.
While we do that, can I get a fresh, not branded water? The can in there? I drank all
Can
mine
of water?
in the fridge. Thank you. What's the question?
Okay, our trivia question, as I said, is Doctor Strange inspired in Doctor Strange. When Stephen Strange arrives at Camartage, what is the Wi-Fi password that Baron Mordo gives him? He's just Mordo in the movie. I don't know if he's Baron Mordo yet, but Wi-Fi password is what we're looking for here.
Thank you.
Well, we have all of our answers here now, and as always, the winner, as decided by our judges, will get to do our weekly in other news sign-off headline, or they'll get to say them, while the loser will have to be funny at the end of those things. It's it's always a challenge, but it's always
The
fun.
end is always a mess. That's what it is.
For the four of you who actually stick around to the end of the videos, you would know what normally happens. For the rest of you, stick around to find out. Okay, well, let us move on to some other big news that we got this week. Guys, Star Wars Episode 9, and the question of what they'll do about the character of Leia. Mark Hamill was asked about the idea of recasting the role after Carrie Fisher's unfortunate death, or perhaps using CGI to create the performance as Star Wars movies have done in the past, as with Peter Cushing as Tarkin in Rogue One, or even Carrie Fisher's younger self at the end of that movie. Hamill responded that he thought it would be tough recasting because she's so, quote, indelibly linked to the character, and that they ruled out actually using CGI. So now they have to go back to square one with the script for Episode 9, and Hamill called Fisher, quote, irreplaceable as far as he's concerned, which is a good answer. I totally agree.
But
there apparently was a petition to recast Leia with Meryl Streep, who was a longtime friend of Carrie Fisher's. It got 11,000 signatures, but of course
That's everyone.
That's not how Hollywood works. People, popular votes don't matter there, just like they don't matter anywhere else apparently. Anyway, what do you guys think J.J. Abrams and the crew for Episode 9 should do about this? You know,
JJ and the cleanup crew.
right? Yeah. And what are some ways that you could see the movie keeping General Leia Organa as part of the story, or maybe explaining her absence in a way that honors Carrie Fisher's memory?
Is there a right answer to this question? There's marker all over me.
Got ya.
That's the right answer. No, I think that is $1 million question, right? Anybody who has the perfect way to do this will make $1 billion.
It starts at her funeral, and she died a natural death.
Off screen.
Just simple and move on
All
from
All right,
it.
so let's flesh that out for a second. Like, okay, so have her die off screen. So last time we see her at the end of Last Jedi, she is how do we leave her exactly?
She's getting
standing
on
near
the
a pole and
Millennium
she's almost
Falcon.
falling in.
Mentions that spark that ignites
on the edge of a cliff. Yeah.
She's
the spark that ignites the flame, telling Rey that we have everything we need, and then Millennium Falcon blasts off to some other unknown rebel
and we
location.
have this tiny amount left of the rebellion,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a battle. Maybe is that what you're kind of thinking? Like,
Yeah, something.
do you think maybe
Natural causes. No.
Just
I mean,
age?
she flew
she's
through
Jedi?
space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That ain't gonna kill her.
Turns out her heart couldn't handle that maneuver.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Like you don't. I think something just like a quick explanation in the opening crawl would be too impersonal.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
you would need to have some kind of moment with the character. Like I think in some other video I did, I compared this to the Cars movies, which Paul Newman did the voice of Doc, and he passed away between Cars 1 and Cars 2.
Gotcha.
So they had to like figure out a way. Well, he's part of the movies, and they didn't want to bring in another voice actor, even though it's it's
You can.
animation. You could bring in someone who could do a Paul Newman impression. They didn't want to do that. So what they ended up doing, the Cars 2 sucked, but Cars 3, I actually really
You
liked.
brought it up multiple times.
Yeah,
How much you liked it?
what they ended up doing is they made the story of Cars 3 thematically connected to the lessons that Doc tried to impart on Lightning McQueen in the first Cars movie.
But they acknowledged that he died.
They acknowledged that he died. They didn't explain how, but they don't explain a lot of
It's a
things in the
car.
Cars movies.
Yeah.
It's a
How
does
toy
a
that
car
somehow passed
die?
away. Yeah, right. So
Not
as we all know, the alien
cars
bug
have
creature
souls?
that slithered inside of the Cars frame crawled out into the desert and dried in the Arizona heat. That's how all these creatures work. No, but
our
I
video.
think they could learn those lessons as well for the Last Jedi, in that they could use some of the lessons that Leia Organa wanted to impart onto characters like Poe and Rey, and have the whole movie Poe and Rey trying to learn those lessons in their own light, so that the spirit of Leia's message is able to live on. I
Yeah,
think
that needs
I don't
to
know
happen.
exactly how that looks, because it's still a really hard thing as a writer to try to like work on the page. A lot of people
Well, that's
still
gonna
probably
be
won't get it,
dialogue
but
though
it's-
too,
yeah.
where it's like what she would have wanted kind of dialogue.
And
Yeah.
they used a lot of correct me, who did the Obi-Wan Kenobi in the original
Alec
Star?
Guinness.
Yeah, they used his voice often in other
In
like,
Force Awakens,
yeah.
he says Rey.
for like a second, and
Yeah.
like that, there may be a chance to have her say some new dialogue based on
So
like
someone's
editing some.
furiously just editing and cutting
Finding
together
any
every.
bonus.
They already
footage.
started.
Yeah.
They're just making
Yeah.
random sentences right now to see if they can
Okay,
make it
so
work.
it sounds like your pitch was a funeral
Yep.
to start.
Yep.
You're kind of saying like maybe we don't necessarily see it, but
We
we
don't
talk
see her-
a lot about
yeah.
her like leftover or
Yeah,
whatever.
use the themes of it. And,
You're saying
No,
that
no,
we
don't
stitch
have her.
together old edits,
Force ghosts of,
Carrie
yeah.
Fisher, anything Carrie Fisher has been on 30 Rock, all the stuff she's ever done.
Because I have dumb answers in my head. So being respectful to losing a great creative and what it means to all the fans, had maybe do a Force ghost, but you like see her shoulder. It's something like that, or you see like the buns, like you see something like that as like a whatever
silhouette
yeah,
somewhere,
silhouette,
yeah.
and you hear her voice like echo like through people's memories. But you open with the funeral. The funeral is like literally the best way you should do this, because you've shown for the story you saw Han die, you saw Luke die, but you don't need to show her dying. You can just show that she gave her life for the cause, and for some reason, maybe a battle, maybe it's just not natural causes, but yeah, I'm fine with that.
I'm pretty unsure about my own feelings about it, but right now my gut is going with you show something that results in her death.
Okay, she's kidnapped by the Knights of Ren, and she only communicates via a hologram.
And the hologram is of a teddy bear or something. Like it's not her though. Still,
well, it's kind of her, but it's like a CGI.
CGI.
Her trying to
It's
get
like
some
her
message.
behind, so you don't even like see.
You got a
her.
lot more flexibility because it's quite a distorted or it's like a broken file.
but then the Knights of Ren kill her.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Interesting.
guess that's kind of a little what I'm saying, where it's like I think she needs to die in a Star Wars movie.
Wouldn't
I think
that
it needs
be-
to
Oh, it
happen
needs to be an on-screen.
within the hours of the movie.
And then you get the funeral, which is the
Something.
good goodbye.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you have your beautiful Leia moment.
And I think it could be kind of
Leia heard a rest.
the lamest version, but I could see them doing it is the equivalent of an Alderaan explosion, where it's like Leia's on that planet. You know, it's
sure.
that kind of thing.
No.
But that's the lamest version.
Yeah.
No, Morty.
Yeah.
No.
I think no matter what, the episode 9 needs to still be about Leia. Like, it needs to be about
Which
her
is the plan.
character's will and testament or something like that. And the way that, like, the final chapter of the Harry Potter stories was about Dumbledore. Like, we learned so much about Dumbledore, even though his character was gone. Like, you went into, it was like the life of times of Albus Dumbledore, the Deathly Hallows was. So there's
like
no
his
reason why we
brother.
can't do that with Leia here. Let's explore her. Let's let her legacy be the focus of the
So
movie.
we're all against recasting.
Yeah, that would.
I'm gonna be
feel wrong.
honest.
I'm
One of
against recasting Han Solo.
Oh yeah.
You wanted Harrison Ford to play a young version of Harrison Ford.
yeah, it's me. I'm a little tiger now.
I'm done with
rewatching
this.
like Civil War and Ant-Man, they make Michael Douglas and Robert Downey Jr. look really like good as like 20
Yeah.
somethings.
For maybe 4 minutes.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah,
Technology's
because
getting better and
in
better. They're gonna
Rogue
figure it
One,
out.
Tarkin
Movies
is
of
a
this.
little hard
That's too
to
long.
look at sometimes, and also it feels wrong when
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
watching
what's
it.
crazy is you're like, nobody's face looks like that, and then you look at him again, you're like, oh my god, he is like.
But no,
like
I
a
get-
dark
I-
man.
I get that,
yeah.
but that doesn't look like a face is on
yeah,
his
yeah.
face.
And I have
yeah.
no problem with, like, you know what? His back's to camera for a little while, and you just kind of go, oh, yeah, that's his voice. That's what he sounds like. But straight away, it was like front on, close up, and you're
Yeah,
like,
it's
whoa.
it's right here, and it's all fake. Nothing's
Yeah.
real
Uh-huh.
here.
They got real ambitious, and in Rogue One's case, that was
Ambitious.
ambitious. That word comes back. The John Knoll, who's a Lucasfilm guy, pitched that movie, and I think part of his pitch was like, I'm gonna bring Tarkin back from the dead, and that's like he's like, I'm gonna be able to do things with CGI. Trust me, he's a visual effects guy.
And everybody,
that was
every
part of
10
it.
years, someone is convinced that CGI has like gotten to the level where they can do something new with it. And then it's always like we look at it 10 years later, we're like, no.
No. All right. Well, let's move on to another quick update from the news this week. John Krasinski, who of course played Jim on The Office, said in an interview that he would love to play Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards, in a Fantastic Four
him
movie.
and
Ooh, we got
Beard.
like a Photoshop mock up there. Kind of looks like the Avengers logo without the A leg. Okay. Did
you do that?
Yeah, I
that one?
made it.
New Rockstars.
And now, of course, Krasinski stars in and directed the amazing horror film A Quiet Place. It comes out this weekend alongside his real-life wife, Emily Blunt, whom he said he would love to play the Invisible Woman, Sue Storm, in the movie.
sure.
Yeah, dream casting we just got right there. Well,
I-
hopefully.
sign me
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
subscribe. That is
Yeah.
so good.
Real quick, I
Even
just
a
want to
beard.
remind everybody, John Krasinski has been trying to be in a superhero movie since The Office.
Yeah.
Like right after The Office, he was like, I'd love to be a superhero. Any movie that casting has been like announced, like, oh, they're considered different people, he's been in the running. And he came really close.
He
Oh
was
my
almost
God.
Cap
Yeah.
all the way back then,
yeah.
yeah. Which I'm glad with Chris Evans, but
Yeah.
And then
that
I
would've
think
been
he
interesting.
also maybe came close on Shazam, maybe. Or
Oh
something
yeah,
too.
he would be.
Oh, he
you
looks
could
like
see
Zach
him
Levi,
like
yeah.
bulk up for that.
Yeah.
Actually, Zach Levi and him get confused
A
all
lot.
the time.
All the
To
time.
the point where he tweets about it a lot.
And I mean, he's an athlete. He played basketball in high school.
Yeah.
So-
Unfortunately,
I
Chris
am-
Pratt got the dream role.
I
Yeah.
am loving the beard.
The
Can I just
beard.
say?
He's got a great
Oh,
beard.
he-
Throw a little salt and pepper in there.
Ooh.
There you go. Now he's saving the universe, stretching all
Someone
over the
just, like,
place.
Burn some airplanes in the background of this Photoshop job too.
You know.
He's walking away from what he just did.
What did you do, Reed Richards? Yeah.
Foink.
Yeah. Okay, everyone. Rick and Morty fans were thrown a bone this week during their long, open-ended wait for season 4 in the form of another Adult Swim April Fool's prank. Last year, Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon released the season 3 premiere episode. This year, it was a parody episode called Bushworld Adventures.
It's amazing.
It's a bizarre reimagining of the show created by Australian animator Michael Cusack, who made the popular YouTube series Damo and Darren, and animated last month's Rick and Morty themed Run the Jewels music video. That was awesome. So yes, obviously Bushworld Adventures is not a Rick and Morty episode. It's not canon. The characters look way different. They have creepy eyelids. Rick is crazy jacked. Roiland isn't doing the voices, obviously. Everyone's just an extreme version of themselves that keeps referencing Australian stuff. Rick takes Morty on a trip to the Australian city of Bendigo to find his green cube, during which they cross paths with a bush wizard who looks like Jerry, but isn't, but then is, kind of. And then they also meet a giant named Uncle Barry. And
Which would be,
Dougie.
now as an Australian, you don't say Barry, it would have been Baz or Bazza. Yeah.
that's interesting.
So I'm like,
Debunked.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, if you just want to see Rick scream at Morty and put him in danger and sexually humiliate him and make a few meta references to Rick's disrespect of bureaucrats and wubble of a dub dub and accidental giant murder and sons with scary faces and, you know, a gross little callback to the original Doc and Marty pilot. If you really know your Rick and Morty history, this is definitely fun to watch. It might make you miss the show, which has not actually had its 4th season officially approved yet by Adult Swim. Justin Roiland tweeted saying that they were just waiting on the network to find more ways to make money from the series.
How are you not
Szechuan
making
sauces.
money from
It's the biggest
Rick
hit they've
and
ever
Morty?
had. I don't.
Merch,
Yeah, and there's so much merch already out there. Okay, well, the mayor of Bendigo in real life, that was a destination in this episode, was shown Bushworld Adventures, and she wasn't familiar with Rick and Morty, and she said she was quite staggered by the vulgar humor. And after Google search results for the city shot up after this episode, she admitted that any publicity was good publicity, but that Bendigo is nothing like what was
no, it's
displayed
a
in the
fully developed
episode.
Town.
Is it kind of boring?
It was.
It's a slower. It's not a capital
It's
C.
slower.
In the episode, Bendigo is like a barren wasteland. Now, Cusack admits that he's never actually been to the city. He just picked Bendigo because
And
the name sounded
you
funny.
can pee in the bush without getting a snake bite.
Yeah.
You can't. And if anything, it would bite your ankle first. Wouldn't bite.
Not in
That's how big you are.
Bushworld Adventures. Well, what'd you guys think of this episode? Did it live up to your Rick and Morty expectations?
It scared me more than most of them did. Yeah, it
It made me feel
frightening.
uncomfortable.
it was great
Yeah.
though. It's like, look, I'm a you. My body left and it went in a you, or whatever he's
It's
saying.
a ute.
Yeah.
That's
A ute?
like, okay. To be
What is
fair,
that?
to be
You
fair,
gotta translate
there's-
some of the
Yeah.
Australian
Yeah, I will.
You can
language.
barely hear the t. He's like the you.
Ute.
You.
Ute.
Even when you said it now,
Ute.
you.
Ute. Yeah, you got to jump in the ute. No, ute. It's there. Listen, ute.
What is it? A car?
It's short for utility.
Okay.
Utility truck.
You don't
Okay.
even know. You're asking
Utility.
us, so we don't know.
Utility truck. Ute. Utility. Ute. So it's a
That's why the SUV, the sports utility vehicle.
The SUV.
Soup.
SUV.
Petrol.
Petrol, yeah. So basically, it's like just a normal car, but it's got a tray at the back. Instead
Got
of being
it.
a big truck, you can actually get a smaller one.
Mm.
That's
Oh, like the Outback actually is designed that way to have that. Okay, that just connected for me. Yeah.
There's a car called that.
Called the Outback.
Yeah.
Oh, got it. Right, it's a ute.
For me, this felt like what I imagine people who don't really like Rick and Morty or don't ever watch it is for every episode of Rick and Morty, where it's just like this old man screaming at a little boy and trying to kill him, and there's a lot of gross out humor.
The best is the intro where he's just screaming.
Yeah.
So it's
And they're
such
like,
an
he's tired
angry.
of your adventures. Leave him alone.
Wait, what was it? I was having a Morty sleep.
I was having a little Morty, so get in the car.
And he's like so jacked. His arm is
Get in
so
the car.
big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I converted my portal
There
gun.
are a few things
It's a
that
real
happened.
gun.
There's a few sayings I was like, nailed it. Like I understood everything. I understood everything. Even if like sometimes I'm like, oh, we don't really use truth as much anymore. But it's like I pay respects. But when it gets weird, I mean that's why people love Rick and Morty. I don't like it, and I'm like, what?
I did not like this. I did not care for it. I love Rick and Morty.
Oh.
I liked about 5 minutes of this, and then
It's only 11.
I know, yeah. Well, honestly, it's like absurdist humor. Like,
Yeah.
it can be very hit or miss for me, at least. And
Put
so
your
it was,
witchetty grab. Put your witchetty grab on your little sausage.
yeah, like around there. And but also, it's like 5 minutes of a very clear game that I think is very funny, which is the idea that for those first 5 or 6 minutes, it was also like, is Rick not good at science? And like it's all in his head because he's like, we'll go to another dimension, but it's like down the street, and like his portal gun is just a normal gun. And I thought that was a really fun thing to play with, this idea that like, oh, Rick just thinks that like all this like adventure stuff is happening, but he's just a crazy man
With a
But-
gun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But then eventually, like, no, he does have stuff, and there are portals and stuff, and it just kind of like lost some inspiration and just went anywhere.
The Dougie part in the in the middle with like the
Yeah.
grub and everything. That was like the least interesting part. And then when it got to to Uncle Barry, like that got fun again, and then it ended kind of strong.
Me hubby's dead.
But it's his dementia.
Cuts away. Never gets back.
Dementia.
His dementia.
Yeah, if you, I think in order
adventure.
to like this, you have to like really, really love troll humor, like just to troll, just like we know what the joke is, and we're just like making fun of it now. And Rick and Morty does do a lot of the real series does a lot of that, and sometimes they're really great about it. Sometimes I think, especially in season 3, there were times where it's like, okay, you've done like too much of it. Like 30% of the episode is that now. When like I think the writers just start to get a little bored with their own premise, and I think this was all of that. So I appreciate that it was only 11 minutes long, because I think any longer I would have gotten tired of it.
I thought it needed to be 6. I think also part of the problem is that they're doing it to Rick and Morty. Imagine if they did it to The Simpsons or something, right? Something that's a little bit more like traditional and straightforward, but still very comedic. But they're like, imagine if The Simpsons went off the rails. It's like Rick and Morty goes off the rails. Like,
it already
Rick
does.
is suicidal.
Yeah.
What if it didn't have rules though, or story, or structure, or anything?
Sure.
It's not. You never would ask for that, but that's what we got.
Yeah, but I love seeing it on stuff that you wouldn't expect it from, and
It's
kinda
better that
expect
way.
it from.
Yeah.
Do you know what the quiz should have been? What is Rick holding in his hand?
A sausage.
A beer and a...
Oh wait,
a beer and a koozie?
No, I know what it is. It's a.
It says it in the episode.
It's a koozie.
Tongs.
It's a.
Stubby.
Stubby.
It's not
Darling.
stubby cooler, and that's why.
No, because the stubby cooler is what it's in. But it's the stubby is the beer, and then he's flipping over snags
Do you
on
know
the Barbie.
the American word for the same thing you just said, the cooler?
Stubby cooler.
Yeah.
the American, the cool one.
It's a koozie.
Huh?
Yeah, I think ours is actually the weirder one.
Koozie?
It's
Yeah.
not okay.
That's not what I-
Koozie is
Yeah.
like someone who can't say cousin. Oh, he's my koozie.
Bendigo.
Or they try to say excuse me.
Bendigo.
What's a koozie?
Well, let us know what you thought about this Bush World Adventures Rick and Morty episode. Do you think
Rick
it can
and Morty.
sustain you through the next 2 to 8 years before another season comes? Well, reminder to
Morty.
get in the car. Reminder to subscribe to New Rockstars for all of our Rick and Morty coverage. We actually did breakdowns of all the episodes of season 3 and a bunch of other videos about jokes that you might have missed, but knowing Rick and Morty fans, you didn't miss anything. Anyway, okay, but now it's time to move on to our New Rockstars news. Lightning round. Unlimited power. You guys
Please no,
tweeted
my
us
baby.
questions. Thank you for tweeting us these questions. I'm going to fire them at my co-hosts, who have to answer them as quickly and without
I'm
as
gonna do it
hesitation as possible.
Yeah, we're all-
We're going to close our eyes.
You always send me ones that's like, here, recast this whole TV series. Go.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Well, let's start with Maude. At that Lily Mason wants to know, which non-powered, non-magical superhero would you want to have your back in a fight?
Non-powered, non-magical superhero. Isn't that the purpose of a superhero? Is to have magic?
Well, some are just like super
Teachers are
super
superheroes.
people.
Then
Doctors are
Natasha
superheroes.
Romanoff.
Oh yeah. That's a
I
good
want her
answer.
back
Good.
against mine.
No.
All right. For Sam,
My eyes were shut.
our recasting expert here, at Smackle Dabed
Nice.
wants to know,
Smack on the bed.
With my koozie.
who do you think should play Jason Todd if/when the DCEU does an Under the Red Hood?
I know.
I always liked Jensen Ackles' performance of Jason Todd, and he would work fine for the age. Like he could play young enough for mid 20s. Jensen Ackles.
On
He doesn't look like
Supernatural, season 39, he's starting to look a little older.
Season 15, 14, 13, I don't know where they're at. I want him
13.
because I like what he's got going on. Go with that.
Dylan O'Brien over
Sounds
here.
good. Philip at Santos J Black wants to know, if you could make a musical out of either DCU, MCU, The Walking Dead, or Game of Thrones, which would it be, and who would you cast as your leading man or lady?
Okay. I want the answer to be Game of Thrones because a Game of Thrones musical would be so good, but they
Would give us
that's
something
just
to
like
talk about.
being a fan thing. Like, sure, they would never actually do it. I could actually see them doing why are my eyes closed? I could actually see them doing a Marvel musical somehow. And especially because the DC did have one on the Flash, and it was Flash and
They
Supergirl.
did.
It was really let down,
yeah.
actually, a little
I
bit.
liked it.
It was good because it's a musical and it's fun, but
Darren Criss.
yeah, Darren Criss was fine.
Was
on
there?
it. Okay, but from that, I would take Jeremy Jordan, who is Win on Supergirl,
Yes.
who is one of the best singers in the
He's in
world.
the last 5 years movie.
Yeah,
He's really
listen
good.
to Jeremy Jordan singing Celine Dion. What's the song? Who knows? It's so good though.
My Heart Will Go On.
No. And Jeremy Jordan, maybe a Silver Surfer.
Oh yeah.
And he could. The Avengers have to fight him, but he makes them sing.
All Coming Back to Me.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I've seen that. Is that
Oh,
8 and
gosh.
Below? Is that the New York bar?
It's so good. The end.
All right, and for me, Philip, I gave you 3 different options, so it doesn't look like I pre-planned an answer.
Season of what show? Maybe
Uh,
Walking Dead.
yeah.
Oh,
it
got
got
it, yeah.
it got blurred out. I guess.
Cool. Eric, where's Walking Dead headed? Who's gonna die next at its Dev T82? Final prediction.
Who's gonna die next at the end of this season? Okay, so I would say I think that.
Lightning round.
Dwight. I think Dwight is going to die. Dwight. The both sides, please. And where do I think it's going to go next season? I think for fans of the comics, I think we're going to see the Commonwealth from recent run of the comics.
Wow.
We've gotten a little wink at it. Wow, a new group coming in that seems a little bit like the Commonwealth, which is a very advanced society, very, very advanced. They have got a concert arena. We got to get a musical episode of Walking Dead in there.
Lightning.
Well, thank you all for tweeting, and keep an eye out for our lightning round tweet next week, where we'll get to all your questions eventually. Okay, but next up, let us take a look at what we got in the pipeline for videos coming out on this channel in the next week. First off, speaking of Walking Dead, we will do a breakdown of episode 15, the penultimate episode of the season. I can't wait because
Sounds like you
there's a
can.
Fear the Walking Dead crossover episode as our
yeah.
finale, and it sounds like Fear the Walking Dead might be coming up
Stronger.
nipping at the heels of Walking Dead. We'll see.
We got a real cool billboard on Sunset Boulevard right now that shows Fear the Walking Dead as a Western style.
Yeah,
Wow.
the trailer for it that played at
that's very
WonderCon, it looked very cool. It was more exciting than anything from recently The Walking Dead I've seen. We also got a MCU rewatch series going on.
There's going to do Captain America Civil War. It's a very good movie. I'm excited to talk about it with all you
Yes, you
fine
said.
folk.
I love how the
Yes,
movie
that's it.
starts with all of the strongest superheroes in a hotel room, and all the weakest are kind of like the ones that are trying to save things. You'll see.
You'll see.
You'll
No
see.
spoilers.
We also have some more Infinity War content. I guess I can't wait for this movie. Philip talked about this earlier. We're going to be doing a video on Hawkeye.
You don't need
where
to. I
is he
already
in this stuff?
figured it out. It's
Yeah, I'm sure
We're
we
gonna
got a
have
bunch of
actual
theories.
Jeremy Renner there.
Yeah,
This is
he's
his
gonna tell us.
inclusion.
We also wanted to look into, so we love looking at Thanos from the comics and what precedent he has and how that might be adapted to the movie. So we want to look at like who does Thanos have a history of murdering in the comics?
And in the Infinity War storyline,
Oh, the Gauntlet. Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
he kills like everybody.
It's
Right.
So
awesome.
here's what's really cool. I think in that
Squishnet.
video we'll get into how he kills them, because when you have the gauntlet, you can kill in so many creative ways.
The Cyclops
Yeah.
death is the one I
Oh
think
gosh,
sucks
that
the
one
most.
that one's a nightmare. Yeah.
Personally, I think that's the one that
Can you
sucks the
say
most.
it now as a teaser?
A box gets around his head right when the laser goes off, and
But he also like can't breathe.
He's like-
I don't know. Yeah, there's all sorts of creativity there.
yes,
Very ambitious
the writers
skills.
had a lot of fun.
He was literally in Lightning Round.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, now comes the time for our 15-second shout out, where each of us has 15 seconds to shout out, plug, or ramble about anything we want. Sam, why don't you start?
Okay, 2 things. 1, A Quiet Place. Go see it. It's amazing. If you like thrillers, it's definitely up your alley. Also, my new favorite meme is just search Screaming Cowboy, and if you find a thumbnail of a cowboy in the mountains screaming, I've been playing that nonstop for a couple days. It's been great.
Oh,
How'd I
that's
do?
exciting.
That's good.
You got it.
Thank you.
For my 15-second shout out, a lot of you have been tweeting me about this already, but for those of you who haven't, Legion Season 2 premiered this past week. I love that show.
I
It's
love
my
that show.
favorite show. I wish we had more time to do more videos about it. Hopefully we'll have time to do video. We won't be doing episode by episode breakdown. Stop tweeting me about it. We don't have time to do it. We have too much on our calendar. But watch the show. It's so great.
You yelled at us.
Yeah, sorry.
Mine are Why the Last Man. It's an old graphic novel, but they're finally making the pilot. So go read the graphic novel real quick, because they'll never kind of be able to like fully do that. But it's The Last Man on Earth, surrounded by women. Also, the writers are women and the directors are women. It's
For the
very good,
pilot,
very cool
yeah,
show. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
so cool.
And then Devin, what's the video game that you said we got to give a shout out to?
Spider-Man's coming out.
Oh, the new Spider-Man game. Yeah, and they just dropped a little bit of real cool footage on that. Yeah.
I'm going with video games as well. I'm playing Sea of Thieves, and
It's
I
so good.
suck at it. Can you add me on Xbox?
I'm so
I'm
bad at it.
So bad. And like I only play with one other person, and
I
this
keep
person hates
crashing
me.
into rocks.
Oh,
I can't
man.
stop it.
This person's like doing all the challenges, and I'm just like, I can't I can't even get past a rock or something. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, Sea of Thieves, guys.
Well, great. Yeah, check out all those things. And finally, let's return to the trivia question that we asked earlier. Oh, you got it? Yeah. Now, just to remind you of what the question was, I'll just get this. I'll take this one. Question was, in Doctor Strange, when Stephen Strange arrives at Kamartaj, what is the Wi-Fi password that Mordo gives him? Let's take a look at what we said.
Interesting.
Eric
said Valtour. VALTORR.
Word being in there somewhere.
What is that?
Don't know.
I don't remember
Valtor?
that.
I think it's like some phrase from
Here's my frustration with Eric. We broke down the hell out of this trailer,
He
and
still
this
doesn't know.
joke was in
Yes,
the trailer
yes.
so many times, and we also broke it
was in the
down.
trailer,
and so-
yeah.
Yeah.
Backwards is Rotlav. Does that help?
Sam says
That's an A. Sorry.
Shangri-La.
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 I wrote spelling question
Spelling.
mark because I didn't know if I spelled it
Shangri-La.
right.
Shangri-La, like
All
Shangri-La.
right, Shangri-La.
Or the
I
heaven.
think you're thinking of Shangri-La.
Like the
yeah.
heaven.
But there's like a chain of hotels.
Maud wrote elite numbering, believe in magic, which is like super secure.
Is this a spell or something?
Yeah.
No, it's the Wi-Fi
I love
password.
when you say the whole thing and then you have to say, and then the E's are 3s. And oh god, these don't work. Don't use this kind of password.
Yeah. Philip says it's Sam Bashler.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
The heaven. The other heaven.
Philip doesn't
It's
want to
just
win.
for me.
I think I'm pretty close actually.
The answer is Shambhala.
Sambashla.
Shambhala.
At
So
least I'm not the furthest away.
our winner would be Sam for
Look.
yeah.
Yeah.
Shambhala. Sorry, I meant to say Philip. Yeah, but Sam's close. Yeah. All right, so Philip is our winner.
Okay.
Our loser is.
I'm funny. That was funny. I provided entertainment.
You wrote
Eric
your
wrote a
password
random
for your
word.
Twitter account.
Valtor.
And honestly,
It's a Doctor Strange word, though.
I think Eric-
Believe in magic with 3s?
That's not a word,
Eric,
though.
I'm going to call you out. I think you wanted to lose. I think you think your jokes are going to be so good this week. Let's build them up real high.
I write the question. I know what the
I thought
answer
What are
is.
you doing?
I was about to say I felt so
Believe in
confident.
magic.
I thought I won with
I
Shangri-La.
thought you won
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Okay, well, the winner will do our goodbyes. Philip, we'll get to do
I
that.
can't believe Sam Bashler won.
And
Like,
then
that's so great.
you found a way to do it like a joke answer that still won. Like that was great. That's impressive.
Thanks, buddy.
The
No mercy on you, though.
I'll have to do our headlines and be funny. Maude, would you like to read the headline to
Sure.
set it up so I'll have time to think?
Yeah, I'd love to. I'm just going to.
I should just
can't.
do this every time.
Alrighty. In other news, Joe Manganiello said that a Deathstroke movie is still in the works despite the character and development struggles. Yep, did I miss a word?
No,
No,
it's
just-
written weird.
Yeah.
Despite the character and development struggles in the Batman solo movie.
Oh,
I'll give you a second.
we'll need a
Oh.
Magic Mike miracle to save that character.
Womp, womp, womp.
It's,
I think he
Struggles was
wanted
a
this
noun,
to-
not a verb. And it
You
was a
set
noun.
yourself up.
It is mad that you wrote the
I
headline.
spoke to Joe
weird.
today, and he's got a new character. It's a Minotaur. Do you say Minotaur or Minotaur? Minotaur.
The first
Minotaur.
one.
Minotaur, no one says Minotaur.
Yeah, no, man. I tell you, there's always someone.
She said Australia, too. I think you're just faking a lot of
The
things.
minority. Yeah, it was funnier than. So anyway,
Number 2.
Stranger Things creator, the Duffer Brothers, are being sued by a filmmaker who claims they stole ideas from his short film, a claim that the Duffers have denied.
The judges ruled that the lawsuit is fraudulent unless the director's last name is Spielberg.
Because
Yeah.
that's who they
He has a legitimate claim, maybe, for some of his ideas being ripped off.
Lightning round.
Yeah, that was bad as Magic Mike Miracle. Hey, number 3's coming along.
Zack Snyder said that in Batman v Superman, Bruce Wayne uses sex as a drug to numb himself from his emotional pain.
If that movie wasn't fun enough,
Yeah.
well, check this out, kids.
Meanwhile, I used the movie Batman vs. Superman to numb myself from the pain of watching it.
Can't say that after earlier
After,
you
like,
were like,
yeah,
I
right.
love this movie.
Also, it makes no
We're
sense.
in a different universe
What?
now, and now that I have to be funny, it's a different. This isn't me. This
That
is
said, What the hell is Zack Snyder talking about? That did not happen in that
my
movie.
gosh,
Also, the
at all.
movie's so old now. Just live it, let it
Imagine
live.
he's like, all right, here we go. He takes his shirt off and the giant, what is it, a phoenix tattoo on his
Oh,
back?
yeah.
Oh,
He's going through something.
Yeah, that's true.
Martha.
It's written in the feathers.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who I also had a chat with today. Oh my gosh, it's all just happening. What a day, more.
Name
Stop dropping names.
dropping.
My back's sore from picking them all up as well. Jeffrey Dean Morgan said in an interview that the movie Watchmen was ahead of its time.
And he
here it comes.
denied rumors that
This is
the
an
movie was a bunch of holy crap.
Yeah. I could see your body shifting to have to
Is it doing
get
the back
into
bend?
that
Yeah,
weird
I need the
knee
bat.
bend thing.
Yeah.
And Matt Reeves.
Watchmen's a bad movie.
Matt
No, I don't agree.
Matt Reeves' Batman solo movie will not focus on the death of Jason Todd Robin, contrary to fans'
Rumors.
rumors.
No,
No Jason Todd.
no, Jason Todd.
The death. It's not
No,
focusing on the death.
no, Joseph.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan again.
I guess the all around me are familiar.
Yeah, I like that one.
So you're wondering how I got here.
Oh boy!
All right.
Where did I go just then? That was fun.
You're in
hey,
Samland.
well, yeah. Oh, and it was
It's all hellscape.
warm and too warm. All right, Filup, take it away, or goodbyes.
Guys, we just need to end this episode. Goodbye to you guys. Thanks for watching this week. Thank our host, Sam Bash at Sam Bashler, at Erik Voss, or Erik Voss at EA Voss. He's killed himself for his jokes. Philip Molina at Fimo, and Maude Garrett at Maude Garrett. Also, make sure to check out Geek Bomb because it sounds like she's going to do a lot more than just name drop there. She'll probably drop some videos, some great interviews. Comment down below on any of the stuff we talked about this episode and tweet us at New Rockstars. You can't even play dead. Like this video and share it around to your friends and subscribe to New Rockstars. If you don't subscribe and you're this far in, you're asleep. And that's really the only way that happens.
Thanks for the
You're
video.
Eric's soul.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Just
can't even
keep the
play
playlist
dead as the
going.
meanest diss for an actor. You can't even play dead.
All right, we got a lot of deep dives coming up on stuff you love. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
snapped.
Happy
Bye.
birthday this weekend to Erik.
Happy birthday! Really?
You broke him.